Hello and welcome to another Light Reading Telecom Innovator video. This is Light Reading's sponsored video series where we explore how companies in the global communications industry are evolving, and we connect with some of the people, technologies, and ideas making that happen. My name is Phil Harvey. I'm an editor at Light Reading, and today I'm joined by Daniele Ceccarelli from Cisco. Hi, Daniele. How are you?
I feel very good. And you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us today. Today, we're going to be talking about autonomous networks. This is a very big topic on light reading and around the industry. Over at the TM Forum, they've defined autonomous networks as intelligent, self-governing systems that can dynamically manage and optimize themselves with minimal human intervention. That definition is pretty important. And they've also set levels of autonomy inside of networks. Can you give us an idea of like what are those levels of maturity and maybe a little idea about what they mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, the TMF defines five different levels of autonomy. Well, actually six because they go from 0 to 5,
Okay.
where 0 means completely manual operation. There is no automation at all. There is no intervention from an external system. Everything is done by an operator. To the other extreme, we have level 5, where we have a full autonomy, meaning that the operator doesn't even intervene. That doesn't do anything. Anything is managed in a completely autonomous network, autonomous way from the network. And there are obviously shades of gray from level 0 to level 5.
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's a great place to start talking about these levels of maturity because we can kind of get a reality check for where operators are now. So, looking at that TM Forum Autonomous Networks maturity model, where do you think most operators are at this moment and why?
So there are different entities that are trying to answer this question through investigation, polling, interviews, and it seems that most of them agree on level 2 as an average. Some more advanced operators are leaning towards upper layer, level 3, and are already looking at levels beyond that, while some others are a little bit behind in the automation journey. But in an average, we are around level 2.
Okay.
Level 2 is the level where the operator is still driving the network and can use some tools to help, like in the provisioning of services or in the analysis of metrics, performances, and so on and so forth. Actually, there are two steps which are extremely important in this ladder, which is the moving from level 2 to 3 and from 3 to 4. The first one is particularly important because it is the big disruption from an operational point of view. Up to level 2, as we said, is the human that is driving. We have human operations assisted by a system. While moving to level 3, we switch and we have a system operations assisted by a human. So this is a big disruption from an operational point of view. And then the next one, which is from level 3 to level 4, which is where AI kicks in. So the system is no longer leveraging on pre-configured rules and policies by the operator, but starts to leverage on AI, machine learning, and LLMs, and so on.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's also I think level 4 gets really intriguing too, because that's where it starts to the network, like you said, stops going by just preset rules and starts just assessing what's out there and then making judgment calls or presenting options to the human operator, who's still involved.
Absolutely.
I think I think you're also correct and I wish I'd said this before in pointing out that yes, of course, every operator is at a slightly different place, but on the average, most of them are around a 2, which, the way I would see that is like, okay, so most of them are just a little less than halfway there to autonomous networks. I think that's an important thing to kind of consider too. So when we're looking at how they, start moving their traditional network operations to a more autonomous model, what are some of the main challenges that you see them running into as they start that journey?
So this is a very good question, because probably there are a lot of challenges in this migration path. I would probably take the top three, the three that are more relevant here, which in my opinion are network simplification, data availability and quality, and resistance, both cultural and organizational resistance. So starting from the network simplification, unfortunately, we don't deal with the greenfield networks, at least not often. If we had a network which was homogeneous, brand new, with the same data plane, for example, SRv6 everywhere, that would be extremely easy to automate. But unfortunately, in real networks, in brownfield networks, we have years and years of accumulated stuff, processes, systems, and so on and so forth. So there is the need, first of all, to migrate to something that is simpler and more automation ready, like, for example, adoption of SDN. And in some other cases, there is the need to integrate with legacy systems, EMSs, NMSs, and this is something that makes things a little bit complex. The second aspect is data. As we said, availability and quality. Availability because when we move from level 3 to level 4 and we start to add machine learning algorithms and so on and so forth, we need first a lot of data to train the algorithms to provide reliable answers. And the second, after they are trained, we also need a lot of data to get meaningful and reliable answers. So the availability of data is something that we are working on, and is a kind of barrier in the migration. And then cultural and organization resistance. There is still the perception of losing control. The upper we go in this ladder, and the operator feels that is losing control over the network, and there is still not enough trust in the AI. In fact, we strongly believe in evolving towards level 4, where the operator is still part of the closed loop, is still capable to say, yes, I want you to do this, or no, please don't do that. While we have still some doubts that all of the operator will reach level 5, where the operator is really playing a minor role in the automation of the network.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I do appreciate too, first of all, starting off with the cultural concerns of of operators. It does stand to reason that they would be worried about how much control they have over their network, since it is their core asset, and their sort of reason for being. But I'm glad you pointed out the other 2 points about network simplification, because obviously they're coming from a different place. More like some operators have a lot more legacy stuff than others, and then data availability and data quality to train the AI, and also allow it to get to a point where it can make decisions or help you make decisions about the network. So yeah, these are all good sort of things to keep in mind as operators are going down this path. Now, what tools are available for operators as they're validating the autonomy of either their network, like what level they're at, or a specific solution?
Yeah. So actually, the tools available for this evaluation are not as good, as advanced as some other specs in TMF. So the TMF produced a sort of table to start with for the evaluation of the networks. let me take one step backward and try to explain a little bit how the process works. So first of all, the evaluation is not a monodimensional issue, is at least a three-dimensional thing, because when we do an evaluation, we don't evaluate the entire network. We need to take in consideration the different domains, like the service domain, meaning if we are delivering an home broadband type of service, an enterprise lease line, and stuff like this. The network domain, we could be speaking about the data center, an optical network, an IP network, and so on. And the operation flow domain, so basically the macro tasks that we do in automation, from planning to deployment, service provisioning, and so on and so forth. So you need to identify all the possible combination of these three items, and then do the evaluation for it. So saying my network is 2.3 is not something that makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense to say my service provisioning in my IP network is 2.3. This is something that makes a little bit more sense. So at the very beginning, the TMF for each of these scenarios was defining what they call the subflows, basically a group of micro tasks grouped into execution, awareness, analysis, decision, intent, and experience. And it was possible to provide a ranking for these ones, but something very high level, something like, is this done manually or automatically? And then depending on where you fit in this table, you get a score. So you see, this is something extremely high level, prone to interpretation. And the TMF tried to improve this, and they decided to provide the questionnaires. Obviously, as you can imagine, all the possible permutations of service domains, network domains, etc., is huge. So they identified what they call high-value scenarios. Basically, the combination of these domains which have more value, both from an operational point of view and the technology point of view. And they have they run quite many interviews to the operators active in TMF, and came up with a bunch of these high-value scenarios. If we take, for example, the IP network, if I correctly remember, 3 of them have been identified as high-value scenarios: fault management, network changes, and quality optimization. These are the 3 high-value scenarios. And so they decided to produce questionnaires for these scenarios. So it is these questionnaires have a lot of questions with multiple answers, and they allow you to get a more accurate evaluation. So if you see a score like 3.27 in these cases, it's something that is relatively reliable. But in all the other cases, everything needs to be taken with a grain of salt.
Okay, well, that's really helpful. So yeah, it does depend on, when you see, I guess for anybody, the takeaway here would be anytime you see someone proclaiming what level of autonomy they're at, you need to kind of look back at what they're actually grading. It's hard to just give a network a number, but like you said, there's high value scenarios that the TM forums defined. There's also, like you said, specific network domains, and then the tools or services within that domain that you can kind of grade a little bit more accurately or a little bit more specifically. It's fair to say the idea of validating the level of autonomy in the network maybe needs to be have some automation applied to it as we're going. So let's talk about where Cisco stands in this area. So what is where does the Cisco Crosswork Automation Suite? How does that factor into telco operators on this journey?
Okay, so given what I just said, we don't dare to provide a number with 2 decimals of accuracy. We believe that we have a lot of tools in our toolbox that allow us saying we are around level 3, if not very close to it, because I mean, our suite allows providing tools for service provisioning, optimization, assurance, managing workflows, and so on and so forth. So we believe that we have a very sound level 3 automation level. Now, what are we doing to get to the next level? So first of all, this is not something that you can reach overnight. This is a long journey. In fact, also the most advanced operators believe that they can increase their score from level 3 to 4 in 3 years or so. So this is something that requires a lot of work. What we are planning to do is to adopt the agentic framework concept in our platforms. We are already working in that direction. There are the first use cases are already available, and the idea is to start building agents in our platform. Start very simple. One agent, one use case. So single agent use cases, something that can help the operator manage the network with very well-defined and specific use cases. Something like, for example, identifying wrong configuration, or identifying toxic factors in the network, like a combination of a given software release with a given type of hardware is causing issues in the network. And so these are the first step in our journey. One thing which we are very proud of is the fact that we are building this platform using an open SDK. We are basically building Android, and you can build your own applications. We will provide our own applications, simple, complex, etc. But the most interesting thing is that through this open SDK, everyone, operators, third parties, whoever, will be capable to deploy own agents in this platform. So it will be possible to collect the data through our tools and use that data to build either simple or very specific or advanced use cases depending on the situation. And this is something that is already happening. The journey, we already started this journey, and we agree with the rest of the market that we will capable to claim a full level 4 automation in 2-3 years from now.
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for kind of giving us the status quo, and then also the path forward. Kind of how the technology is evolving, and how Cisco is also on that autonomous networks journey, and in helping telecom operators. I'm also intrigued by the Open SDK. I think that's it seems like a great approach, because now operators will have even more flexibility as they're moving along their autonomous networks, and they're not locked in to a specific provider's applications. They can write them themselves, or someone else can use them, and then plug into the automation suite where needed. This has been very helpful. Thanks for your time today, Daniele. And we're just about out of time. But I for folks who are just seeing this series for the first time, please go to lightreading.com, and you can see our archive there. We've got quite a few on this very subject of network automation, where we're talking to and AI, where we're discussing with Cisco executives where they are in this journey. Daniele, again, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.